Beth gets home from her husband's funeral, and she had a long day. She is still trying to figure out what the note her husband left before he died meant. She continues drinking and plays the videos from her wedding. She finally goes to bed while still dwelling on her husband's memories. She suddenly hears a knock on the door and quickly gets up to check who it is. She goes downstairs and opens the door. There is no one there, but she feels something strange. She goes back to bed. In the morning, she finds herself sleeping on the living room's floor. She has to go to work, so she grabs her coffee and heads out. While on her way out, she noticed the gate near the stairs that led to the river wasn't properly placed. She goes to fix it, but she sees muddy shoe marks on the stairs. She follows it, and it leads her to the boat. Suddenly, she hears a gunshot, leaving her in shock. She goes to high school, where she works as a teacher. Everyone stops and stares at her as she enters the hall. Her close friend Claire signals her to come sit with her. She tells her she doesn't think she has to come. She would cover for her so that she could grieve in peace. Beth reassures her it's all right. She needs a distraction from her husband's sudden death. At her office, she searches online for a new house and a gun. A parent knocks, upset about her son's missed makeup test. Beth explained she was absent due to personal matters. The parent proceeds, saying everyone has personal matters, and Beth's reasoning isn't unacceptable. Beth agrees to excuse the student and gives him a B. The parent says she wasn't here for this. Beth, furious about the woman's reaction, tells her her husband shot himself in the head last Tuesday. The parent didn't expect this news, so she apologized and left. Beth returns home. She hears footsteps from the stairs that lead to the river. It was her neighbor. He tells her he covered the boat for her. Her husband was found dead on that boat after he killed himself. He also tells her he can take the boat away if she wants. She tells him it is okay because she plans to sell it along with the house. Before he leaves, Beth asks her neighbor if he was hunting this morning because she heard a gunshot. He tells her he didn't and to give him a shout the next time she hears a gunshot. When she gets home, she plays the video recordings of her husband when they were just building this house. They were a really happy couple. She throws the recordings away and starts putting her husband's stuff away. When she is going through his stuff, she finds a book with interior drawings. It isn't surprising at first because her husband was an architect and had many drawings. This one was a little different because it had a reverse design and had notes on each page. After she went to bed, the music player started playing music loudly out of the blue. She wakes up to the music and she receives a text from her husband's number. He asks her to come downstairs. She asks who it is, but he replies, telling her not to be afraid. Beth calls the phone to check if it's true, and her husband is actually contacting her. A person with Owen's voice picks up the phone and starts whispering. Beth is not sure what to believe at this point and isn't sure if she is hearing her husband on the phone or imagining it. He tells her he knows she can hear him and tells her to look out the window. When she looks out the window, she sees her husband standing in front of their house, naked. She wakes up the next morning on the bathroom floor, unable to tell if what happened last night was a dream or real. She goes to her messages to see if her husband's texts are real, but there are no texts. She goes through her husband's phone to check the messages, but she doesn't find anything new. When she goes through pictures on his phone, she sees a picture of a woman that looks similar to her. At first, she thought it was her picture, but she didn't own such clothing. Confused about the picture she has found, Beth shows the picture to her friend Claire. Claire assures her it probably is her own picture. She just doesn't remember it. She tells her to stop trying to find things and just remember her husband for who he was when he was with her. Claire invites Beth for a drink with a couple of colleagues from work. While they're having drinks with her colleague, Beth asks them if they believe in ghosts. She tells them that there is something in her house like a presence. She tells them how she is having these dreams that feel real. They tell her it's probably sleep paralysis, but she tells them it wasn't like that. It was like her body was awake, but her mind wasn't. They tell her maybe she was experiencing sleepwalking episodes that make her feel like there's someone else in the room with her. Beth wonders if sleepwalking is contagious because her husband used to sleepwalk right after he built their house and they moved in. Her colleagues ask her how she didn't know something was wrong before her husband killed himself. Beth tells them she didn't notice anything because her husband is usually optimistic and it was actually her who used to battle with depression. They proceed, asking if he did leave a note before his death. Beth shows them the note, saying she doesn't have an idea what he is talking about. Claire suggests they go home since it is getting late. When they get to the house, they start talking about the note. Beth confesses to Claire that she lied about the note. Claire thinks it is a fake and tries to laugh it out, but Beth tells her she knows what the note means. She tells her she died this one time. It was when she was 17 in high school. She got in a car accident and her heart stopped for 4 minutes, and she was declared dead. She somehow managed to cheat death and was alive. She never told anyone what she saw in those minutes except Owen. She tells Claire she saw nothing. There was nothing there after death. Owen strongly disagreed with this idea and believed there was a better place. In the note, he gave in to her idea, agreeing there was indeed nothing and that she was right. Beth tells Claire to stay until she falls asleep and leave after. Beth falls asleep and wakes up to a disturbing sound of music in her living room and things in her house moving. Beth tries to check if someone is doing these things and gets to the door, but there is no one there. She starts looking outside the house when suddenly multiple women are running towards her and diving into the river, then disappearing. She sees footprints on the floor marked with blood. She starts calling out for Owen. She is then moved by something she can't see, and she finds herself lying inside the boat near their house. She walks to her house, and when she looks inside her house, she sees Owen arguing with another woman who looks like her. She convinces herself that she is dreaming and gets to the house. She then wakes up on her couch, confused if she dreamed all that or if it really happened. After she wakes up, she goes through his laptop and finds various pictures of different women who look like her. She gets really confused about the situation and she goes to the woods to look for answers. Last night, while she saw a couple of women running, she also saw a house and a light on a window. Her neighbor tells her there aren't any houses around here and he is concerned about her behavior. He invites her over for dinner, feeling sorry for her. Beth continues walking around the woods regardless and finds a house. She goes inside the house and it has an unusual design. She finds a voodoo doll and takes it. She then ran to her neighbor's house because he told her there were no houses in the woods. Beth confronts her neighbor and asks him why he told her to keep out of the woods and about the house she had found. He tells her he doesn't know anything about the house, but he saw Owen wandering in the woods a couple of times and he told him not to tell anyone about it. Beth demands to know everything about this matter. Her neighbor told her he had caught Owen in the woods one time and that he was with a woman. He told him that he had shameful urges and was trying to overcome them. He told her he never saw him do anything after that, so he didn't feel the need to tell her. When she returns home, she goes through his things and finds books. The books focused on confusing dark forces, using different mazes and designs. She resorts to heavy drinking. She then hears sounds coming from upstairs and decides to go and take a look. She sees strange images that instantly disappear. She checks where the books her husband had were from and goes there to find more answers about her husband's double life. When asking questions about her husband in the bookstore, she sees a familiar woman. She recognizes the woman from the pictures on her husband's phone. They looked so much alike. Beth walks up to the woman and introduces herself. Beth asks the woman what her relationship with her husband is. The woman tells her they met here in the library and they went for a few drinks, and that was it. Beth tells the woman that her husband has died, and she demands to see her with her hair down. She notices how similar they look and leaves.
Honestly, I barely knew him.
Beth tells Claire things she discovered about her husband, the woman he was seeing, and the dreams she keeps on having. Claire tells her to stop what she is doing and move on with her life. Beth decides to take Claire's advice and plans to leave the house for some time. She goes to her house and starts announcing she is leaving tomorrow, and if someone wishes to talk to her, now is the time, hoping whatever is in the house would reach out. Her door suddenly gets knocked, and someone is leaving. It is the woman from the bookstore. Beth asks her how she knew when she lived. The woman tells her she had been there before. She told her that she had a strange dream about her. She tells her that nothing happened between them. He once took her to the house in the woods and tried to choke her, but then stopped and apologized after. Beth goes to the house in the woods to investigate and ends up finding shocking things under the floor of the house. There are several dead bodies buried. She goes back to her house, shocked by what she discovered, and leaves Claire a voicemail about what she had found.
I did something that I shouldn't have.
She decides to take a shower after that, and just after she goes out of the shower, she hears the music player playing on its own. She cries, hysterically confused, when she sees a sign that says, "Here." She walked up to it and felt a warm embrace from her husband. The thing whispered and told her it wasn't Owen. She saw Owen in the mirror beating another woman. She runs to the other rooms only to see Owen doing different things with other women. Something pulls and starts dragging her on the floor. She falls down the stairs when she finally talks to the stranger. It was her husband's body, but not quite him. He told her that he was what she saw when she was dead years ago. It was nothing. He had been trying to get her husband to kill her, but Owen refused to do it and instead tricked him by killing other women who looked like her. The thing tried to take her, and she was suddenly on a boat, holding a gun. Claire comes to Beth's house and sees her sitting on the boat. Beth saw Owen's last moments, and the strange thing was telling her to give in and join Owen by shooting herself. Claire jumps into the water and stops her. Beth dropped the gun and was finally free. When Claire asked her what it was, she told her it was nothing. Did this story spook you out? Let us know in the comments below. For more horror movie recaps, subscribe to our channel, and we will see you on the next one. Fear awaits you.